Verone, I just asked Johnny the same thing, but I want to get your take on it. You know, you've been here a long time. We hear from recruits and players all the time about the family atmosphere that Cristobal has developed under his reign here. Talk about, from your perspective, what you're seeing with the atmosphere and the family and how that's changed.
Things here are just super authentic. We'd like to keep things real and just be honest with things. So having that family environment and being able to have those open conversations about things beyond just football really makes things different here. So just having that aspect and building on it just throughout the different recruiting classes and guys that have come before me, come after me, just embracing them and knowing, like, we know you may be far from home, but this is your new home and we're all brothers here and we're ready to go.
Julian Minnesota KZI. Verone, is there any maybe young guy in particular on the defense that you're looking to make things interesting in fall camp or take that big leap, I guess you would say?
Some young guys, Justin Flo, of course, Scoop, Damon David, DJ James. I know he's not really a young guy, but he's another guy that's been kind of waiting his turn, so now he's going to have that opportunity. Dante Manning is another one that is ready to go, Triquez Bridges. And then up front, Keon, somebody, you know, who hasn't played just that much, but another guy that's probably going to have another really good year. Steve. So we got a lot of guys that are really prepared to go. So I'm excited to see those guys battle out in camp.
Matt Prehm, 24/7 Sports. Last year, you guys didn't have camp and strength training program leading up to it. How better prepared are you this year, having all of that this past off season?
We've had time to bond and time to really understand the playbook, meet new coaches, really like sit down and take time with them and really have those meetings where there's no, you know, separation. We get to be with the offense a lot. We do things outside the facility. So being a close-knit group like we are this year, I think that's going to help us out a lot. There's a lot of guys that have stepped up to that leadership role, a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps. So everybody's ready to just take over and really make this thing ours, because the best teams are kind of player-led. That's what we say, is the best teams are player-led. So.
Eric Scopel, 24/7 Sports. Verone, you came in same year with Steve and Javon, and Steve's had to wait a little bit, but first off, as a person, as a friend, excitement for him to have this opportunity, and then how comfortable would you be back there playing with him if that is how it works out?
Steve's a guy who's waited his turn, and I think he's taken tremendous steps towards, you know, becoming that guy that he's supposed to be at high school. And I think that he's done a great job of just really getting into his playbook and understanding what he needs to improve on. And I think he's honed in on all of that. So I think me and Steve back there would be fantastic. I think we'll be guys that, you know, fly around and make plays, and we're super smart. We do things on our own a lot, just me and him, making sure we understand what's going on, going over the play on the sideline, what we saw, what we didn't like, what we feel we need to correct. So I think Steve's prepared and ready to go this year.
Verone, Ryan Thorburn with the Register Guard. I know one of your hobbies is kind of looking at film and breaking that down and sharing that, your thoughts on that. Given that hobby, how would you describe kind of what the identity of a Tim DeRuyter defense is and what it will look like if you guys are doing it the way he wants it this year?
First, just Coach DeRuyter has done a great job just coming in and kind of hitting the ground running. I think this defense, just from his past defenses, they've been fast and they fly around and they're super smart. That's something you see a lot, especially. They were super smart. So kind of bringing that here and being guys who are already smart and already want to dive into the film and adding that with just the scheme itself, I think it's going to be fantastic. We play fast, and we're physical, and I think adding that with Coach DeRuyter's defense and his terminology just goes hand in hand.
Verone, one of the guys that changed positions in the last year was Brian Addison, and now is at safety. Talk about what you've seen out of Brian, you know, in that role.
Brian's done a great job making the transition from receiver to safety, and he did a little bit of that in high school as well, so it's been a little bit easier for him. But another guy that's really rangy, getting out the middle of the field, super rangy, does a great job coming down and covering different slots, tight ends. So he's done a great job, and I think that him being so long and him being able to have that turnover with him being lanky is super helpful for him in the back end.
Israel Uru, Duck TV Sports. Tell me how it's been like this offseason with Coach DeRuyter and Coach Yates, and how do you think that's going to reflect in the season and this upcoming month before the season starts?
Wait, can you repeat the last part of the question?
How do you think it's going to reflect in the season?
I think it's going to show that we really did take that time from when they came in all the way through of just little details, taking care of the little details and the communication and just where our hands need to be. I think all of that is going to show throughout the season. I think that in the season, with it being a full season now, I think we're going to continue to progress just because we have that relationship with our coaches. We all bought in early. I think that was the big thing. It was like we bought in early and hit the ground running. So I think that was part of some of our success in the spring, and even some of the bad things we did. We corrected it, and we were able to watch that film and understand that we'd rather have these bad things happen in the spring instead of happening in the fall. So putting all that together, I think, will be super helpful for us throughout the fall.
Max Torres, Ducks Digest. Verone, I think one of the cool aspects of the program that maybe doesn't get talked about too much is the guest speakers that come to campus and share lessons with you guys. What's that like for you as a player to know that the staff is working to enhance your experience like that? And what have maybe been some of your takeaways from those speakers?
It's been super helpful. You always want to see guys who have been to those national championships, guys that are in the NFL, even money management, little things like that, just taking care of things outside of football as well and having those talks. But it's always good to see people in places that you want to get to. Of course, we're working and getting better and better, but to hear those conversations from guys like DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, and just to be able to understand, like, it's going to take all of us, and we have the talent for it, and continuing to see people come in here and say, this is one of the most talented teams we've ever seen, and we all understand that, but it's going to take the discipline of it, the work ethic, being together. That's going to be all major keys in us getting to where we want to get to. So.
James Carpy with the Oregonian. Verone, as a Texas guy, what does it mean to you that the program has made more inroads in Texas in this year's recruiting class? I'm sure you've probably had direct contact with some of those guys, not mention them specifically by name, but just that clearly the emphasis of recruiting in Texas is picked up as somebody who's one of the few Texas players on the program right now.
It's always good to get into Texas. Of course, I may be a little biased, but I think Texas has the best high school football. So, having that pipeline and starting to build that is super helpful. I feel like I'm kind of one of those staples of Texas, and showing that you can come this far and make plays and achieve all the goals you want to do, from graduating to trying to get to the next level. And I think we're all in position to do those things here. So just because you're from Texas doesn't mean you're going to get thought of any less, because we're a place where there's competition from everywhere here. We have guys from Florida, guys from the East Coast, from New Jersey. We have guys from the West Coast. We have guys from down south. So being able to go to a school where you get the best of both worlds and with the connection. So I think it's one of the better places to do it, and that's part of why I came here. So it's huge.
Pretty simple. What excites you about this team this year?
What excites me, we've had the full year to grow, and we had so many early enrollees. We had like 15, and the class was about 20 or 25 or whatever. So for a majority of guys to come in early and hit the ground running, and you can see, like, okay, we have young guys that can play, and then we have a lot of guys returning. We have guys who've played against Auburn, played in the Pac-12 championship against Utah, Wisconsin. So we have a lot of returning guys that have stepped up and have been waiting their turn and ready to play, and then we have young guys that can also step into different roles and make an impact. So that's probably the most exciting thing. I mean, we had last year, it wasn't what we expected it to be, and now it's like we understand what we did wrong, we corrected it, we looked ourselves in the mirrors and understood what we're trying to do, and I think just through everything from coaching staff to trainers to even EQ, everybody's locked in. So I'm just excited.
Max Torres, Ducks Digest. Marcel Yates, obviously one of the new faces on the staff this year. We've only gotten to talk to him a little bit, but from your player's perspective, what's it been like getting to be around him and get coached up by him?
Coach Yates has always been somebody I knew. He recruited me back when he was at Arizona, so I've known him for quite some time. But another guy, he's a defensive coordinator, but also has the pedigree of a DB. So it goes hand in hand, because we get the technical side of it and we get the schematic side of it. So being in the safety room, and for somebody like me who really likes to know what everybody's doing, we're able to understand what the front's doing, what the D-line's doing, what the linebackers are doing, where this affects us, how we can fit this gap and go and make those extra plays, even though that may not be our responsibility. So him being in the room has just been phenomenal, and everybody likes him. I appreciate him so much already, because I've learned so much already just within the short time he's been here. So I think he's going to be a huge part of our success in the back end and just this defense as a whole.
Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated Magazine. If you had one receiver on the Oregon Ducks team who would be the biggest challenge one-on-one to cover? The game's on the line. Who would be the biggest challenge for you to cover?
Oh, man. Oh, This is a tough question because that's the thing. We have so much talent now. I would say Devin and Johnny and Red, those are like the three that, pose a lot of issues. But then there's also young guys like Troy Franklin. You have Michael Pittman, who I call Elmer's because he really doesn't drop anything. Who else is there? Dante Thornton. So we have so many guys. It's hard to pick one, but I think that's the thing that makes it fun because in practice you're going against all these guys. There's no like separation. So we all have to go against them. So every rep you got to be on your best, and I think that's what separates us from everybody else. The ones, the twos, even the threes. Like you have guys out there who are ready to go in and play right now. So that question is hard to just pick one, but those are some guys that I feel like would give you a little bit of a challenge. Thank you, Verone. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.